Sing the song in your brain the rest of the week.
Yeah. Free or unlimited, there are no chains that bind you. Free or unlimited, there are no chains that bind you. Free right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. We are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us.
Thank you, Dave. Welcome to the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Jamica Wallace. I am a practitioner and your board president. Normally, Reverend Steve would be here to welcome everyone, but he is on a much-earned vacation today in Tahoe. We're sending our love out to him and giving a shout out in Zoom land there. Hello, everyone. So we're going to start today with what we start every Sunday with, and that is reading together our vision mission statement, which says, "We are an open, loving, spiritual community dedicated to evolving consciousness through teaching spiritual principles." Okay, and I have just a few announcements I'm going to share with everyone this morning. For starters, would you like to share your time and talents? We are looking for volunteers in our bookstore, our AV department, our spiritual gardeners, our kitchen angels, and our greeters. And if there's something else you would like to volunteer and add to that list, let us know. We have a sign-up sheet available on the back counter. So please feel free to fill that out and let us know. Yes, thank you. Would you like to become a Grants Pass CSL member? If you are not a member, there are applications available in the seat back in front of you, or there are some available, the green slips on the back counter over there. Or we also have applications available on our website at grantspasscsl.org. One of the perks that is being offered right now is all new members, if you would like to, you have the option to receive a 6-month digital subscription to the Science of Mind magazine. So another little extra perk to becoming a member. And next, just a reminder, our metaphysical book study group is continuing to meet on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. in the conference room right here. And the book that's being studied right now is Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. And directly after that, our practitioners are offering a 15-minute meditation. This begins at 9:50 and goes till 10:05, and that is also held in the same conference room right there directly after that book study. And that is all the announcements I have for everyone today. If everyone could please stand and join me in singing We Are One.
I am and in this unity we shall live in harmony. As peace has come, as we are one, we are one, we are one. I am you, you are me, we are one. And in this unity, we shall live in harmony. As peace has come, as we are one.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Dennerline, and I'm your practitioner on the podium this morning, and I would love for you to read with me our gratitude. How grateful I am to wake up and say yes to life, and so it is. Yes. Well, so wonderful to see all of you here, out in Zoom land as well. And you might be wondering a little bit about what a practitioner is and why I'm here instead of somebody else. We're the healing arm of the Centers for Spiritual Living. We're here to pray with you. That's our deal. We get to practice the presence, and we get to share that presence with you, holding the truth until you can know it for yourself. Because all of us have those times when we know something intellectually and outside, and we just can't quite embody it. And just having another prayer buddy there with you is really helpful. Always has been for me. So please call on us. Today we have Paula Peterson in the rear of the room holding the high watch for our service. And she's here also to connect you. If you would like a in-person prayer, a short affirmative prayer after the service, just go right back to that little round table and see Paula with that beautiful silvery hair there, and she's sitting there back there with her stole on, and she's ready to direct you, because that's really what we're about. We're here to connect with each other, and we just hold that spirit with each other. So please reach out to us, and we reach out to you. You can also, if you're more comfortable submitting a prayer request written, there's a little yellow piece of paper like this in the back of the seats, and you can fill that prayer request out and put it in either the offering basket as it goes around, or just put it in a little box back there. And it's a confidential prayer box that we'll pray. All I think 6 of us now, isn't it, Paula? Yeah. We'll pray on your request all week. And you know, it might be just a demonstration that you've had, because we know prayer works. Prayer is always answered one way or another, whether we expect that answer or another one, whatever, it is answered. So there's a little blue slip too. You can put those on there. We'd love to hear about how the Spirit is manifested in your life. And we'll pray on that all week with you. You can also submit a prayer request online at our grantspascsl.org website. So know that this is confidential and healing, and we are honored to pray with you. And you can reach us through our phone numbers in the program as well, if you would like an individualized prayer session with a practitioner. You can contact us that way. Barbara has yet again outdone herself on the flowers. Thank you so much for the beautiful flowers. And is there anyone here for the very first time? Because if you are, we have a gift for you. Oh, terrific. Right up here toward the front. And oh, way over there with the puppy dog. Sweet little dog. Yeah, over there. Thank you. So wonderful to have you with us. Wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here. Absolutely. And of course, those little cell phones that make noises, I always forget to turn mine off. So please turn yours off if you haven't done so at this point. Super. So let's read the prayer together as we get ready to go into our service today. Realizing I can be hypnotized by group consciousness, I choose to bond with the one power and presence that is truth and can always be counted on. And so it is. Our monthly theme for July is speaking truth to circumstance. This is kind of a reboot of the phrase speaking truth to power. Spirit is the only power. What people really mean when using this phrase is speaking to control or our circumstances. Circumstances, however, are never the truth. So we begin by looking at them straight in the face as the monsters they see. But like the movie of the same name, they are not what they seem. Have you ever considered that so much of our strife is founded on a deep belief of separation from God, from ourselves, from each other, from the planet? You know, this sense of separation grows seeds of good versus bad, right versus wrong, us versus them, fear, judging, and so on and so on. These seeds then create a desire for control, blame, shame, guilt. You know, we've all done that, right? We hear it: heaven, hell, victim, persecutor, rescuer, and so on. Faith in our foundational principle of oneness and the attendant practices that we adhere to and we teach and we believe help move this through our lives. Affirmative prayer, meditation, study of enlightened truths, tithing and service. All those things help root us in greater knowing of this principle of oneness and supports us in awakening from the dream or the nightmare that we are not together, that we are separate. It's merely a dream. But I know this can be challenging. It is for me. The journey calls for great compassion for ourselves and for others. Ernest Holmes' statement in his book, What We Believe, or the statement that the organization has, What We Believe, back in 1927, reminds us this quote: "We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all." Ernest Holmes believed that, and we put our foundation of this organization and our group here today on that belief. It is good to keep this in mind as we wade into the crazy house of human life, our own included. So let us now go into the silence to begin waking once again to the truth of spirit that each of us are, to center ourselves deep, deep in compassion. And allowing our breath to deepen and bring us back in the room, knowing that we have been in and we continue to be in the flow of life, connected to everyone and everything. And for this, we are so grateful. And so, well, it's time for some special music from Dave Flick before we have our talk.
We didn't do I Am Love yet.
We didn't do I'm Love. Let's do that.
Okay.
Let's do that. Thank
Is in my life.
You know, folks, when that song came out, when I'm 64, that's for the old people. I'll never be 60. Where did time go? Is everybody having a nice summer?
Yes.
Well, if you're not, it's later than you think. Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Enjoy yourself while you're still in the peak. The years go by as quickly as a week. Well, enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Let's let your day. Work for years and years. You're always on the go. You never take a minute off. Busy making dough. Someday you'll say you'll have your fun when you're a millionaire. Well, imagine all the fun you're gonna have in your old rocking chair. You're still in the good. With the absolute. Enjoy yourself. Bills they will.
than you think.
You're gonna take that ocean trip. Been a couple of days. You got your reservations made. Just can't get away. Someday you're gonna really, really, really see the world. You're gonna really, really, really get around. Well, just how far can you travel when you're 6 feet underground? Oh, well, enjoy. Quick, enjoy yourself. The years go by. Quickly as a wind. Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Enjoy yourself.
You guys hear me okay? Yep. Using this mic is the first time I've got to use this, so. I have my hands, look out, you guys. I really speak freely now. Okay, well, are you ready to wake up? Yeah? Or are we gonna just keep hitting that snooze button? This month, we're discussing speaking truth to power. And today, we're gonna look at how we've become hypnotized by the media and cultural conditioning so that we can free ourselves from reaction into authentic action. So have you been hypnotized? Yeah. Songwriter Bob Welch, while he was with Fleetwood Mac, wrote a song called Hypnotized. The last verse closes with, now you know it's meaningless to question, or meaningless question to ask if those stories are right, because what matters most is the feeling you get when you're hypnotized. Don Miguel Ruiz refers to this as domestication. And in New Thought, we refer to it as the collective unconsciousness. It is the collective dream in which we are all so immersed that we don't even know that it's a dream. All around us, we are being called to wake up. So let us say yes, even if we'd rather just hit that snooze button one more time because it feels so good. Because we're hypnotized in this dream. To quote John Lennon, living is easy with eyes closed, misunderstanding all you see. So it could be said that our entire journey in this life is waking up. Like Neo in the movie The Matrix, we are born into a pre-existing dream in a collective agreement about life. And this dream is founded on a deep belief in separation, belief that we're separated from God, from ourselves, from each other, and from our planet. This separation then grows seeds of good, bad, right, wrong, us, them, fear, judgment, on and on and on we could go. And then these seeds go on to create desires for control, for blame, guilt, heaven, hell, victim, persecutor, rescuer. We go on and on and on again. So our foundational principle of oneness and the attended practices to establish ourselves in a greater knowing of this principle support us in awakening from the dream. But this is not easy. It is definitely a challenge. The journey calls for us to have great compassion for ourselves, but also for others. And I always know it's powerful when spirit comes through twice, and we're going to hear Ernest Holmes again. Bucky shared this, and I'm going to share it again. In 1927, Ernest Holmes shared in his statement, "What we believe," that reminds us, we believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. It is good to keep this in mind as we wade into that crazy house of human life, definitely ours included. So first off, if we can recognize that life is a mirror, the first thing to do is to not wrestle with the mirror, but to change the source of the reflection. So have you ever tried to wash your face by cleaning your mirror? It doesn't work so well, right? So this has become one of my most valuable tools through my spiritual journey. If we can just stop and think of every person or situation as a mirror, we can use this to help us go within and to heal. If I'm out in the world in what I like to call peopling, and somebody, rubs me the wrong way, or I get irritated, in my past, I used to believe, man, there's something wrong with them. Boy, they're really irritating me. You know what? It's their fault that they're the ones irritating me, or they got under my skin. And through using this practice of the mirror today, I can stop and realize, oh, I'm irritated. Well, what is that? And I can grab a hold of that root of irritation. And I can go within and I can discover what is the real root cause of this. And usually, always actually, I discover there is something deep inside of me that I'm irritated about. And once I can discover what that irritation is, I can make an adjustment. I can change it within me. And magically, the images around me change. It's beautiful. It's the law of attraction. It's how this works, these teachings work. So our unseen is creating our dream from within. And with this practice, we realize we've not even been perceiving the mirror correctly, but we've been looking through filters this whole time. Mary O'Malley, in her book, What's in the Way is the Way, uses the analogy of a storyteller. This storyteller is constantly operating to comment on life. We experience life through this storyteller, and it is speaking from all of its conditioning or its domestication. Motivational speaker Tony Robbins was once asked if it's hard to hypnotize people. And he replied, absolutely not. The hard part is waking them up from the trance state that they're already in. So then this is our journey, for us to wake up to actually experience reality. Before we can change the world out there, we need to understand what the world out there really is. The power of the storyteller comes only from our willingness to look at the stories it's telling us, thus seeming to enlarge our fear of what we think is going on. But it's so much more comfortable to stay in that rightness than to step back and to admit that my perception may not be accurate. But if we are going to speak truth to circumstances, the first thing we have to do is see the circumstances clearly. They're usually far more complex than we initially thought. So what are some practices that we can use to help us awaken from this collective hypnosis? We can use the mirror as a tool to step back and gain a bigger picture. And when we encounter people, circumstances, and organizations who upset us, it's important for us to step back and recognize that below the surface appearance, we are one. We all want the same thing, and that's love. We may have very different ways of trying to get it, but it is what we all want. And this is because the infinite presence is love. And we are simply wanting to be aligned with it, no matter how distorted our method may be. At the core of most of us are two spells: the belief that I am separate from life and that life is not safe. And out of that, we adopt two methods of operating: trying to control life and trying to do it right. When inevitably life cannot be controlled, we make several assumptions that I didn't do it right, I'm not enough, therefore I'm wrong, I'm unlovable, I'm all alone. And if we can understand that all dysfunctional behavior is built on this foundation, we can begin to support ourselves and others in unraveling the foundation. We no longer look at people performing dysfunctional behaviors as wrong or evil. Those are all labels that our judgmental ego wants to apply. But instead, we can step into seeing people as ourselves and understand that they're doing the best that they can to live in love just like we are. Ram Dass gives us a wonderful example of this in his book, A Journey of Awakening. He states, in 1967, I spent many months in my guru's temple in India. I recall receiving a letter from Allen Ginsberg describing the Chicago Convention and the revolutionary protests of many people whom I knew. For a moment, I felt as if I were escaping from the world by sitting in this temple in India. Leading a simple, quiet life, I thought I was copping out. It was as though I were at a rest camp far from the action, and my friends were out on the front lines, truly helping mankind find a better world. At the time, I was studying the Bhagavad Gita, which is a story of Krishna's injunction to Arjuna to fight in a battle. As I reflected more deeply, it helped me realize that it is often easier to fight an external enemy than to confront one's own inner demons, and that my own inner work did as much for my fellow man as for myself. Indeed, this was one of the front lines of the battle, deepening my own inner being to feed others. Perhaps, I thought, I was the one on the front lines while they were holding back from ultimate confrontation. Later, I realized that one needn't judge who was better or worse. We simply have different parts to play in this drama. So, for us to move this understanding past just intellectual knowledge, we must begin to heal this structure from within. Knowledge can begin to pop open our closed mental prison, but knowing and integration allow us to walk our talk. There are two practices that can help support us in this opening. The first is meditation, real deep meditation that quiets the mind enough to allow the storyteller or the domestication voices to recede so that we can hear our true self. This isn't an overnight process. It definitely takes dedication. And often it's not easy because that long conditioned ego, that storyteller, does not want to give up easily. But over time, the quietness comes and glimpses of the light of reality will show through. This honestly was one of my oldest illusions when I came into my spiritual practice. Was I thought I knew what meditation was, and it turned out it's so much more than I could have ever thought. I used to believe that sitting in the silence and your legs crossed and hands up and that is definitely meditation, but that was my belief that was it. That was the only kind of meditation that existed. And what I've discovered along my journey is that there are as many different forms of meditation as there are creations. And for some people, it may be going out with the fishing pole and throwing that pole in the water. You know, for somebody else, it may be out on a brisk walk. Some of us, it might be going out in the garage and tinkering with our cars. Whatever it takes for us to clear that mind, But the beautiful thing is we get to choose what works best for us. But in order to choose that, we have to be willing to go deeper and to listen inside to discover what works for us. Ernest Holmes reminds us in the Science of Mind textbook, to practice the presence of God is to awaken within us the Christ consciousness. So the second process is compassionate listening. Listening from curiosity, not the desire to be right. Listening from our heart, not from our position. Listening with wonder and not the need to argue or to prove somebody wrong. And we know that compassionate listening begins with ourselves. We all get hooked from time to time, and listening to ourselves helps us to see where the real hooks lie. The need to be heard is one of the most powerful motivational forces in human nature. And the recognition of being listened to is the response that tells us that our feelings, actions, and intentions are meaningful. So are we willing to look deeper than the reflection in the mirror and respond to ourselves in a way that conveys we are honoring ourselves and listening to what is being said? What is the true root of this message? As A Course in Miracles reminds us, I am never upset for the reason I think. As we create a habit of compassionate listening to ourselves, we find it easier to extend this practice out to others. We awaken by asking the right questions. We awaken when we see knowledge being spread that goes against our own personal experiences. And we awaken by seeing answers in corners that are not popular. And we awaken by turning on the light inside when everything outside feels dark. So to summarize, as we become willing to be aware that we are hypnotized by the collective consciousness, we begin to see the most important task in our life is to wake up. We cannot truly deal with the world issues nor our own personal issues until we at least thin the fog of misperceptions that surround us. When we stop relating to the world from an us versus them perspective and begin to see that we are all living in a century-old dream, we can relate to each other differently, more compassionately. When we understand the core desire we all have is love, as well as the core spells that run us and influence us, we can take a different approach to healing the world within and around us. We must first heal within, otherwise we just perpetuate the patterns of attack and defense. It's so much easier to attack out there with our belief in self-righteousness. But we have to take a step back and begin to awaken to the truth that there is no out there. Instead, we must first ground in the truth of our own being and others. Then we can act in love, which is what we're all really wanting. We begin with meditating to clear the fog away, practice compassionate listening with curiosity for both ourselves and others. And we must especially practice it with those our ego wants to label as our enemies. So I'm going to end this with a powerful quote from Ernest Holmes out of Science of Mind. The resurrection is the death of the belief that we are separate from God. God did not die. What happened was that man awoken to life. The awakening must be on the part of man, since God already is life. And so it is. So let's go ahead and follow our teaching and do some prayer, and bring the lights down a little bit. And I just invite you to close your eyes or take a soft gaze at something that's beautiful to you. I invite you to set the intention to go within and connect with the knowingness of the Creator within, whatever that is to you. God, Goddess, Buddha, Great Spirit, the light, universal energy. I know this power of oneness goes by many names, but it is limited by none. And I know this creative energy is always life affirming, love, light, joy, peace, beauty, and the power that operates within all of creation. I know this power is what is beating my heart, operating in my mind, and filling my spirit, because I am one with this Creator. And because I know this is true for me, I know it is true for each and every one of us here today, here in our sanctuary and on Zoom. I know there's only one of us here. Each of us is individualized expression of that Creator. And I speak a word of divine remembering right here and now for each of us as we step into awakening from the illusion of the dream. Knowing as we awaken, we see and know clearly that we are one with all. As we awaken and open and expand to our truth, we allow for the remembering to happen. And I speak a word of blessing over divine alignment for our ears, allowing them to open and listen with compassion and love. And I speak a word of divine alignment over our eyes, allowing us to see clearly with spirit eyes, awaken from the dream into oneness. And I speak a word of divine alignment for remembering who we are. I'm so grateful for the divine wisdom and guidance we receive in this sacred space, in this sacred place of one mind. In the silence and oneness, my heart fills with immense love for this wisdom and the opportunity to experience this awakening within each of us. And I release this gratitude, this love, and these words with great joy into that universal loving law that always responds with yes, yes, yes. And I fully let go, releasing this into that universal law. And we can all affirm this together the same. Well, now it is time for our offertory. So if you would like to take your gift or just put your hand on your heart if you're sharing your love with us today, and we will say this together out loud. I give this gift freely and joyously, knowing I can never outgive God. So it is. hear myself thinking. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a prayer over these tithings. These tithings are divine manifestation of our ability to manifest into form the power of prosperity. And I speak a word of blessing over these tithes collected with love. They bless the giver and the receiver, and they allow our beautiful home to operate and to be available to anyone and all who are remembering who we are. They allow us to do good works for our spiritual home and for our community. And for this, we are also very blessed. I offer great love, gratitude with these gifts as we release this into the universal love. And so it is. All righty, our closing song. Yeah. All right.
Say yes, yes, yes to life, life, life. I say yes, yes, yes to love. I claim my yes when I say yes. I say yes, yes, yes to life. Sing it again. When I say yes, yes, yes to life, life, life. I say yes, yes, yes to love. I claim my best when I say yes. I say yes, yes, yes to life. Yes, yes, yes to life. Yes, yes, yes to life.
All right, our benediction, repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening right now.
Something wonderful is
happening
right now.
It's happening in my mind.
It's happening in my mind,
In my body.
in my body,
And in the body of my affairs. I think it.
I think it,
I feel it.
I feel it,